Hey guys, it's Mr. Vince, and today I'm going to show you guys what happens if we do the crawling glitch in almost every vehicle. Now, basically I'm going to be trying this out on almost every vehicle in Jailbreak, and I'm going to see what happens if we do the crawling glitch inside of all those vehicles. Now, back in October, I made a video talking about how you guys can do the glitch, and it's extremely easy if you know what you're doing. Now, before I continue on, if you guys are new, go ahead and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. And another thing, hit the bell icon, because if you hit the bell icon, you'll never have to miss a video that I make in my YouTube channel. So basically, we're going to go in alphabetical order from my garage, for prices at least. Like, what I mean by alphabetical order is like the prices in the garage, and then we're going to do the aerial vehicles and the watercrafts. We are not going to be doing vehicles that do not show the player, such as the Camaro and the Bruley. This is because the crawling glitch does not work as the player is not visible in the vehicles. So basically, we're only including the vehicles that show the player. So it doesn't matter if it's an interior or not, it will be that case. So the first one we have is the Jeep. Now basically, the Jeep is a free vehicle that you can get for free. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Now, as you can see, this is a Jeep and it has 4 seats, as you can see. We're not going to do the passenger seats, we're only doing the driver seats. So what happens if we do the crawling glitch in the Jeep? Well, it's a little interesting. So first up, the player is actually going to be hanging on, well, nothing. Close to the steering wheel, but just nothing. The player is also like hiding inside the Jeep, although their legs are visible under, which is really interesting. Now, of course, the Jeep works pretty well without any off-roading problems, as some vehicles like the Chiron have a couple problems with off-roading. So the Jeep is not one of them, and it does work pretty well. So it's pretty good. It looks kind of weird, but that is pretty cool that the Jeep works pretty well. And also, if you do the passenger glitch where you jump and enter at the same time, this may not work all the time, but if you do it properly, you can also control the vehicle. May not work all the time, but it should work most of the time, as you can see. It depends on your server lag too. Now next we have is the Deja, and the Deja is pretty much the same thing as the Jeep. Pretty self-explanatory, except there's actually one difference. If we do the crawling glitch, the Deja will not be able to be controlled on road. If you do this on the road, you have to be on terrain. So it's one of those vehicles where you have to be on terrain for it to work. Because if you do it on road, it will, well, be stuck. The player will be stuck on the road and it will not work. You have to be on the terrain for it to work. But other than that, this vehicle is a pretty simple, vehicle to control. So it's basically the Jeep, but slightly harder to control, as you can see. And unlike the Jeep, the player is not hiding inside the vehicle, and instead they're showing under. And once again, they're holding nothing, and the steering wheel is being controlled for some reason, which is very weird, but also kind of cool. So that is the Deja. The next vehicle we have is the Ray. Now, the Ray might be a little similar to the Deja, but slightly worse. I don't know. If we do the glitch in the Ray, it's actually a lot different from the Deja. Unlike the Deja, the Ray actually goes slower because the Ray is not fully controlled. You can simply fix this by flipping it, although it will still happen because the Ray will instantly attempt to stop flipping in that case. Now, unlike the Deja, you do not need to be in the terrain for the actual glitch to work. So this is a pretty good, vehicle to do it on, but it's a lot slower, almost the speed of the ATV. Although sometimes it could receive some speed bumps, but other than that, this is probably not a good vehicle to use. And yeah, that is the Ray. Now, the Ray is probably the strangest of them all so far because, well, yes, it works really well on roads, but it will go so slow that it's about the speed of the ATV. So it's pretty ridiculously slow. The next one we have is the Interrogator. Now, I'm actually going to go to the police garage so that way I don't have to spawn it outside the prison. While I'm going there, make sure to subscribe because it would help me a lot. I'm not trying to beg, but feel free to subscribe if you want. The Interrogator is a newly added vehicle in the May update, which was about almost 3 months ago. And we're going to see what happens if we do the glitch in the Interrogator. And it does look similar to the Jeep, where you cannot like see your body, and you can see your legs under, and it's basically the Jeep, so it's still pretty easy to control the Interrogator inside. And also, fun fact, you can crawl under the Interrogator if it's like, showing. Go through the wheels and you'll be able to be inside the Interrogator. The next vehicle we have in the list is the dirt bike. Now, for those who are curious, the bikes are pretty much impossible to do the glitch on. Now, if you can tell the difference between a car and a bike, then good job. If you can't, then there's only one difference. All bikes do not have a first-person driving button on top of the radio. So that's how you can tell the difference between cars and bikes. So if you do the glitch, you will instantly, be, on the bike once again. Now, this is because you cannot actually do the glitch, but the thing is, you are still going to be moving your arms and legs weirdly. And also, if you get off the dirt bike, you will instantly be teleported to the ground, which is extremely interesting compared to a lot of the other vehicles. Now, this does not happen when you're not, crawling. But if you're crawling in the dirt bike, you'll instantly teleport to the ground. And this is very interesting, but also really sick. Not gonna lie. So that is the dirt bike. Next is the dune buggy. Now this one will also be a little similar, but once again, it's a bike, so I expected this to not work. But unlike the dirt bike, the dune buggy actually does allow the player to be seen crawling under, which is really cool, but also very interesting. And as you can see, this thingamajiggy is made out of metal, as you can see. But you just can't control, the color of the interior, so that's why. And just like the dirt bike, you kind of do get teleported when you escape the dune buggy, which again is a little strange, but also kind of cool. However, it's slightly different because, well, you will still kind of hop when you're out of the dune buggy, so keep that in mind. You can also do this in passengers, and it would almost share the same result, just not as good as in the driver. Now keep that in mind, if you are lagging, it's a little harder to do this, so keep that in mind. You will still be dropped onto the ground after you get off the dune buggy, but it's still a little strange. Next is the patrol, and just like the interrogator, I will go to the police garage to show you guys what will happen if you spawn the patrol. And also, the dune buggy is kind of bouncy and pretty slow, so it's going to take me some time to get to the police garage. I apologize for the wait. But here we are, we made it to the police garage, and we're going to see what happens if you crawl in the patrol. And just like the dirt bike, you will not be able to crawl in it, although you will still be able to see your legs and arms move. And just like the dirt bike, you'll actually be teleported instantly to the ground upon exiting, which again is a little weird, but also very cool. So it's pretty much, the patrol, and it's pretty self-explanatory. The next one we have in the list is the ATV. Now, just like, the patrol and the interrogator, I will not be spawning it in the garage because basically 1 minute and it's just a waste of time. So instead, we are going to be driving over to the ATV, and we're going to see what happens if we get in the ATV using the crawling glitch. And there we are. Now, apparently, this is very interesting. Even though it's a car and not a bike, the ATV still does not allow the crawling glitch. Now, I don't know if it's because of the size or whatever, but it's still a little weird. And unlike the dirt bike and the patrol, you will not be teleported instantly to the ground, but you rather instead be in the air, which is a little different. So next we have is the classic, and this one is a car. So we're going to see what happens if we crawl inside of the classic. And if we do it, well, it's actually the strangest so far. Your arms will glitch through the invisible thingy. The steering wheel works in the classic, but it does look really strange. And only your legs are visible in the bottom, although some accessories can be seen. Unlike the Jeep and the interrogator, you cannot see your head unless if you actually look inside of the classic. This is extremely strange, as unlike before, it's just not showing the head and not the body, which is really weird. Instead, it just shows your arms and legs, which I think is very interesting. Because a lot of the other vehicles just either don't do the glitch or they work. But just like the Jeep and Interrogator, there is absolutely no problem with the off-roading. Although the Jeep or the Classic is kind of bouncy sometimes, but other than that, it's a pretty sufficient vehicle. Now, I actually forgot to do the Model 3, but I'll do that later. Next is the Challenger. Now, the reason why I'm doing the Challenger, not the Boxer, is because the Challenger is at the gun shop while the Boxer is at the museum. We are still doing the Boxer, but we're going to go to the museum for that one. We're going to show you guys the Boxer after the Challenger, so that way I can save more time for the video without making it too long, or it's going to be a nightmare just making the whole video. So let's go ahead and go over here, and we're going to show you guys what happens inside the Challenger. I did show this off in one of my videos of showing the glitch, and basically, when you do the glitch, you're actually going to be like hiding in here. Once again, no off-roading problems, but it's kind of weird that the player is stuck into the Challenger, as you can see. Now, the player is holding it pretty normally, but once again, you're controlling nothing, so that is very strange. So next is the Boxer, and this one's a little different. If we do the glitch in the Boxer, you're still going to need to be on terrain in order for the glitch to work, because apparently, just like the Ray, it will not properly work in the Boxer. So we're going to have to make sure that we do this in terrain instead of the road, because again, it will glitch and improperly, I guess you want to call it. But that's for the Boxer. The Boxer is a little strange, but once again, it's pretty cool seeing that you can control it. It will also go slower due to the fact that this glitch is like a little weird for the Boxer, but it works. Next is the Model 3, and just like the Boxer, it will actually go slower because the player is affecting the road, and thus the Model 3 will go slightly slower. Not too slow depending on your suspension, but it kind of works nevertheless. And you can still see yourself. However, you do not need to be on terrain for this to work, so it works pretty well on roads. Next we have in the list is, of course, the Porsche, or as people call it, the Posh. Now this one is a little different from the Boxer, as you do not need to be on roads, and it will not affect its speed. Now due to its off-roading, it's kind of horrible, but it's good nevertheless. Now, of course, you can see yourself, but not your head. And your arms are not visible on, the basic view of the Porsche. And because of this, it does look a little different, but nevertheless, it looks alright. So let's go ahead and go to the next one, which is the Cybertruck. Now, of course, we don't easily have to, spawn it. We can just go to the gun shop number 2 in the city to go ahead and use the Cybertruck. Now, can't wait to show you guys what it's like to drive in the Cybertruck, but we're going to see what happens if we do it in the Cybertruck. The meme truck, as people call it from last year. In the count of 3, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so let's see what happens. So, apparently, the player is actually kind of glitched. One of their arms are showing, and it looks very interesting, not gonna lie. And with better suspension, it does look kind of strange, and almost your entire character is not visible. But if you look in this view, you can see almost your entire thing. Not your body, though. But nevertheless, it's super strange. Not gonna lie. But that is pretty much the Cybertruck. Next we have is the ambulance, but we can't do it because it's a vehicle that you can't actually, do one. So next is the La Matador, aka the Lamborghini. If we do the glitch on this one, you do not need to be on, the terrain for it. And just like, the Deja and the Ray, all those vehicles, it's still kind of sluggish because, it's pretty slow. And it's about the speed of a Camaro if you did the glitch. Without it flipping, though, it's going to be slightly faster, but it's a lot worse as it's just going to go pretty slow, as you can see. I don't know if they nerfed the Lamborghini. I accidentally got confused with the name, but there you go. So yeah, the Lamborghini is kind of slow while crawling, but while it's going to go a little quicker, but it's still not the fastest vehicle in the game, as you can see. But it's still very good for its price. So that is the Lamborghini, and it's very weird. Now I can see why, because of its off-roading, but other than that, it's a little strange. The next vehicle is the Rattler because, yeah, it's a new season vehicle. If we do the glitch on the Rattler, then it's basically like, you know, the Ray, the Deja, the Boxer, etc. No off-roading problems, and nothing is affected. You can see yourself except for the head if you are looking at the bottom view of the Rattler. If inside though, it will look a little better. And once again, you're controlling nothing, so it does look a little weird. Fun fact, in first person, you do not see yourself. This is extremely useful for players who do not want to see themselves in first person driving. So that is, the Rattler. Next is the Volt 4x4. And this one is slightly different from the Rattler, but nothing too different with this one. If we do the glitch on the Volt 4x4, then, well, it's pretty much the same as the Rattler. Now, of course, nothing really changed, and you can still see yourself, as you can see. Now, of course, this looks kind of cool, as in first person, you do not see yourself. Once again, you're controlling pretty much nothing. You can't even hold the steering like that. So it feels like that a ghost is controlling the steering wheel. Once again, this is extremely helpful for those who are not good at controlling, their vehicles in first person, for those who are a big fan of driving in first person. So yeah, now the Volt 4x4 probably is one of the coolest in first person, as yes, it's not showing the roof since it doesn't have one, but you can't see yourself if you did the glitch, as you can see. Now normally if you do not do the glitch, then it's going to look a little worse for some accessories. But if you do the glitch, you do not need to see yourself. So that is really sick. So next we have in the list is our cool boy, the crew capsule, which I guess is the worst season vehicle in my opinion. But we're going to see what happens if we do the glitch. And if we did the glitch inside the crew capsule, well, I don't think I did it right. But let me go ahead and keep trying until I get it. Now, it will take a couple tries, but let's see what happens. And we did the glitch, and as you can see, well, just like most of the other vehicles, there's no issues. And you cannot see yourself in the bottom, which looks very interesting. Probably the hardest to see in my opinion, but as you can see, we are actually crawling in pretty much the whole crew capsule, as you can see. Now players can't see you, and they're like, is there a ghost inside the crew capsule? That is so cool, I'm not gonna lie. Now this is very cool because, you can be a ghost and you can hide from everyone, as you can see. But just like most of the other vehicles, it is just, well, stop working if you get off normally. So, yeah, now let's go ahead and go on to the next vehicle, which also is the last season vehicle I have, and that is the Beam Hybrid. Also one of the rarest vehicles aside from Leia's spaceship, as far as I can tell, since a lot of players don't own the vehicle. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and give this a shot. Sorry. Alright, let's go ahead and see you inside. And welcome to Tomorrowland, as, the Beam Hybrid is probably slightly better than, well, the Boxer in terms of, like, driving it, as you can see. Now, what happens if we do on the road? Well, nothing. No issues, actually. You are going to be able to see yourself, and in this view, your arms are still controlling nothing. So basically, you're driving the Beam Hybrid as a ghost, which looks very nice, I'm not gonna lie. And us Americans are driving in the left seat, so I expected that for a reason. But yeah, the Beam Hybrid, if not, is probably one of the strangest. Yes, it works really well, but also looks kind of creepy, not gonna lie. Now, before I spawn the next one, I'm gonna go ahead and get some of the passenger. Now, holy moly, that's a lot of briefcases, not gonna lie. Like, almost the whole passenger train armored room has so much briefcases. But sadly, I can't pick them all up because there is a restriction on the amount of stuff you can grab as a police officer. But that is still a lot of stuff to grab. Now, last year in April, I made a video talking about this forgotten feature, but that is how you can get that as a police officer. The next one is the DeLorean. The reason why I'm doing the DeLorean instead of the Cirrus is because the Cirrus, once again, is at the police garage, and I don't actually need to, spawn it manually. I could just go there and test that without having to waste so much time in this video. But once again, this is a pretty long video, so I expected that. Now, what happens if we do the glitch in the DeLorean? Well, it's actually very weird, but also kind of cool. Now, unlike the Beam Hybrid, you do need to be on terrain for the glitch to work, because apparently you have to be on terrain since the DeLorean does not have that good off-roading. Well, I guess it is pretty good for off-roading, but still kind of weird. Now, the DeLorean will be a lot slower like this, but a lot better than the Lamborghini. You will also experience some potholes if you are, driving in the DeLorean. Now, this, again, is still kind of interesting, but the thing is, while driving in this perspective, you will be able to drive the DeLorean like this with the steering wheel looking a little better. But it still encourages you to drive normally because the DeLorean is slower while crawling inside of the DeLorean. So next is, of course, the Thesaurus, and like I said, the reason why I did not spawn it because, well, I need to save some time for this video. Now, what happens if you do the glitch in the Thesaurus? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be pretty normal, and just like all the other vehicles that allow first-person driving, nothing really bad happens. You could just not see yourself, and that's pretty much it. And you can see your own character if you're looking from this perspective, and it looks pretty normal. So next we have in the list in the garage is the Stallion, aka the Ferrari. What happens if we do the glitch in this one? Well, because of its terrible off-roading, the Ferrari is required to do the glitch on the terrain. And the same goes for the DeLorean, which I'm not going to explain because I already kind of explained it. So as you can see, just like the DeLorean, the vehicle will go a lot slower while crawling, which is not good, but also a good thing about this is that you can drive in first person. In my opinion, the first person driving in the Ferrari is slightly better than the DeLorean since you have a far more better view inside the Ferrari than the DeLorean. But once again, just like the DeLorean, you need to make sure that you're driving normally because while crawling inside this vehicle, it's going to cause a couple of issues. Now, if you make it so far, then please go ahead and subscribe. It would help me a lot. And don't forget to leave a like and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching this so far, and I hope you have a great time. So that is the Stallion, aka Ferrari. And next we have is the Sentinel. Now what happens if we do the glitch in the Sentinel? Well, this one is pretty self-explanatory. You can see your legs below and some accessories. And if we look inside, well, we can almost see the entire character. And driving in this one is slightly better as we don't have to worry about our character just showing in first person. So that is really cool. Next we have in the list, we're almost done, but we still got a couple more. The next one is the M12 Molten, aka the Molten M12. Now this one is actually really interesting in first person. This is the only vehicle with a new interior that was recently added that does not allow first person driving. Now just like some of the other vehicles, the Molten M12 may not be as good in off-roading and it kind of does potholes. Not a lot, but still kind of strange. Next is the Chiron, and sometimes you need to be on terrain for it, other times you don't have to. Now, there's not a lot of problems with it from the potholes, which is probably the only issue with this Chiron. So next we have in the list is, of course, well, if we go over here, we have got the Agent, but we're going to do the Roadster first, because the Roadster is very close to us, and it's pretty easy to get the Roadster. You just go to one of the demo charging stations, and then we're going to see what happens if we do the glitch in the Roadster. This is extremely interesting, so find out to see what happens. Now, if we do the glitch in the Roadster, we're still going to be required to be on terrain, because once again, the Roadster has terrible suspension, and because of this, you have to be on terrain for this to work. Now, it will go pretty quick, but it will do a lot of potholes, and because of this, it's going to be pretty hard to drive like this. And if we look, it looks pretty good. Once again, we're not even controlling anything. It's even the steering wheel, so that is a little interesting. But now, we're going to move on to the next one, which is the Agent. Luckily for us, this is the last vehicle in the garage that we have to worry about, but the rest we don't have to. So what about this vehicle that makes it pretty special? Well, similar to the Roadster, I believe you have to be on terrain. Well, the simple answer is no. Now, it's similar to the Chiron, where it's going to work pretty normally, but will it do potholes? Well, yes, the H is a pretty new vehicle, and, well, I haven't even encountered one so far. But if I had to guess, probably not. But yeah, now this could be the fact that the off-roading prevents the player from doing any potholes, and because of this, it just feels pretty good. on the Ancient, even if you're crawling inside of it. The next one is the Airtail, and apparently the Airtail, I don't know if it spawns in the military base. If it does, then this would actually help me a lot. I don't know if it's going to still spawn here, because it did spawn here, but I don't actually see one. I don't know if it can be spawned here anymore, because the Sentinel might replace the Airtail in the military base. But it looks like I can't. So we're going to have the spawn Airtail inside of the garage. Now what happens if we do the glitch in the Airtail? Well, just like the Ancient, it will work pretty fine, but its off-roading makes it kind of bad, and you're going to do some potholes in the Airtail. But it's still good because it just feels pretty nice that you can drive in first person without, like, controlling it, like a ghost, I guess you want to call it. And as you can see, you are holding the Airtail, and you are actually almost close to being below the wheels of the Airtail, making it look really interesting and similar to the Molten M12, since the fact that they both have a similar chassis. But the last vehicle we're going to be doing before we do the rest is the Volt Bike. What happens if we do the glitch in the Volt Bike? We'll find out in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so if you do the glitch in the Volt Bike, well, it's like a bike. Because of this, you are not able to do it. But you are able to, like, glitch your character as you're just, like, doing that. And just like the dirt bike in the patrol, if you get off the Volt Bike, then you're actually going to be teleported, you know, to the ground if you do the crawling glitch. Now, this is very cool, but also kind of weird at the same time. Now, it's pretty pointless for some people, but that is extremely helpful for some grinders. So, if you're willing to do it, well, go ahead. Feel free to. So, finally, we are moving on to the area vehicles, and there's actually a total of 5, if I'm not mistaken. So, there's the drone, there's the army heli, there's the little bird, there's the regular helicopter, and the crew capsule. There's also a spaceship, but we don't count that one because only one player can have it. What about in the drone? So if we do the glitch in the drone, well, it's similar to like normally driving it, but the player is seen under, which makes it look very cool, not gonna lie. Like, normally this wouldn't happen, and basically it's like the player's holding the drone, and it's just like kind of cool. What about in the army heli? Well, similar to the drone, but you cannot easily see yourself. Your legs will still be visible depending on what package, and you cannot see yourself almost fully in here, which I think is really cool, not gonna lie. I don't know if this is the only helicopter to have this, but that is really cool. Like, it feels like you're pretty much invisible in the army heli. Next is the little bird, and because I'm a police officer, I do not need to hijack it. What happens if we do the glitch in the army heli? I'm sorry, the little bird. Well, it's not going to be as good as the army heli, but it still looks kind of cool. As you can see, we are just normally doing the casual glitch, and it just looks kind of cool, not going to lie. Like, holy moly, that is so cool. So next we have in the list is the regular helicopter. So normally when you get inside, well, you cannot actually see yourself. Well, what happens if you glitch, well, in the helicopter? Well, the simple answer is that you are not going to be visible. But the thing is, because you can't see yourself, we do not count this one. And that concludes all of, well, the area vehicles that you can see yourself in. I did not include the jet or the stunt because you cannot see yourself in those two vehicles. Last but not least are the watercrafts. First being the cruiser because, well, we're already here for it. Now, normally when you get in the cruiser, you're going to be able to drive like this. And it is the second slowest vehicle, just slightly better than the sloop. So that's good, but it's not certainly the best. What happens if we do the glitch in it? Well, you're going to be holding it like this. And what happens if we drive it on land? Well, surprisingly enough, it works really well on land. Because the cruiser doesn't flip a lot in land, it will actually look really nice. What happens in water? Well, you can almost make yourself invisible in the cruiser, making it look really nice, not gonna lie. Sadly though, you can't customize the cruiser, so that's pretty bad, but also really cool that you can actually hide yourself in that vehicle. Then we have the last one being the jet ski, making it the only watercraft that still flips up to this day, which kind of stinks, but it's fine. Now, unlike a lot of the other vehicles, if you do the glitch in a jet ski, you're actually gonna hold like this, which I think is really, really weird, like a dog, like holding this pad for some reason, and you're feeling nervous that you're not going to be able to make it anytime soon. Like, holy moly, that is really interesting. Holy macaroni, that's a really cool looking jet ski. But then we have one more vehicle that we have not tried out yet, and that, you guessed it, the sloop. What happens if we do the glitch in this sloop? Well, before I do it, make sure to subscribe and leave a like if you guys want to see more content. Well, there's the biggest question that we are going to be finding out. What happens if you do the crawling glitch in the sloop? And don't worry, guys, because if you hold a gun entering the sloop, you're going to look a little worse. So keep that in mind. Now, different positions means that you could possibly make your positions a little different while crawling. And this is actually true, as you saw. In the count of 3, we're going to do the glitch and see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so apparently, I thought you were going to be inside the sloop, but instead, you're holding the sloop while laying down. Yet, you're looking at the ship wheel and you don't even know where you're going. Like, look at this. What kind of maniac drives a sloop laying on the ground, looking at a ship's wheel, and just driving it bouncing? Which I think is, really weird, not gonna lie. And a fun fact for those who are curious, if you hold a gun, you enter a sloop or a cruiser, your crawling position will differ. And because of this, you can make some really nice techniques that will make your crawling positions a little different. Now, basically, I'm going to be doing this in almost every, well, not every vehicle. I'm going to be doing this in only one vehicle that does have an interior. And probably some of you didn't guess it right, but that is, well, if we look over here, most of the interior vehicles will prevent the glitch from happening, but the vehicle we are going to be doing it on is our boy, the M12 Molten. So the jet ski, not the jet ski, because the jet ski doesn't work, but the cruiser is the best vehicle for the glitch to work, as if not the only vehicle that actually does the glitch properly. And hopefully, if they're watching this, they can patch it, because it's so weird that you can crawl in vehicles like this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm facing upside down, which will take a couple of entering the driver's seats in order for it to work. But we're going to see what happens. Now, when crawling like this, you look kind of crazy. Now, what happens if we crawl in here? Well, as you can see, we are looking really weird. Like, look at this. The suspension is just so high, it's even higher than the torpedoes. Like, it's almost like the monster trucks. Unfortunately, though, if you get off the M12 Molten, then it's going to revert the glitch back to normal. And if we enter it again, it's going to look normal. Now, this is extremely weird because it has a lot higher suspension than the torpedo while doing that trick. I'm not sure if that was normal, but that was very cool, not going to lie. So be sure to try that out, and I'll go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. This was a very long video, so I apologize, but I really wanted to make this because it was incredible making this. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. And as always, my name's Mr. Vince. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Tomorrow feels a year away.